Get a view now from the South African Human Rights Commission, and the Gauteng Provincial Manager joins us on the line, and this is Zamantungwa Mbeki. Zamantungwa, good morning to you and welcome. I mean, you've heard since the start of all of this various points of view, and our reporter shared some of the views from the parents and other commentators and experts in the field. And I'd like to start with just the SAHRC's headline view on what they have seen and what they've heard from the various entities so far.
So what we can say is that we are investigating all of the allegations that are being made. Obviously, there's a number of statements that are circulating on the media, and people are commenting via the media. But it becomes very important to us that we get official statements from both the GDE, the parents, and the affected learners, as well as the school. So that forms part of our, that will form part of the Commission's investigation.
Talk to us about, again, just closer, some of these entities that you have mentioned that you're talking to, the GDE, parents, and potentially the affected learners as well. Have we been able to build, I mean, is everyone that is affected in the room and being spoken to? Some of the criticisms, and we've seen some of the some op-eds emerging online about the white parents and teachers being systematically targeted, they being abused, they're out of the picture. One writer is talking about one family asking questions like, you know, which WhatsApp group are we talking about when it comes to our children? We've just been told to pitch up at the school. We're not sure what's going on, can't get any answers. And I think it's very important at the outset that there is a proper, clear, transparent framework that's set out for all of the parents so that you arrive at the other side, hopefully, in a healthy and in an objective and fair way.
Definitely. I mean, once we're talking about disciplinary sanctions or any sanction that will affect the children, we have to make sure that there is a due process that is followed by the school. We did note that there was that article that was circulating to say that even the charges against the learners themselves are a bit ambiguous. It is not clear exactly what the utterances are, which what WhatsApp group, as you've just also said, and also what is the parents' intervention. So when you look at it in a situation that when, as the article said, that they feel that the GDE is, well, flopping, that's what they said, they're messing up another investigation, it becomes very important that you call all the parties together, stabilize the situation, and you make sure that due process, which the GDE has, is being followed, not just by GDE alone, but by the school and the parents as well as the guardians of the children, that they are also given an opportunity to understand what exactly is going on. It's not just about the learners as respondents, those who are also on the WhatsApp group, but the affected learners as well. So when we have a situation like this where you're getting a lot of information going around, it becomes very important that you stabilize the situation, you make sure that policy and protocol is being followed, and that everybody is aware of exactly what the charges are, and that everybody knows when to respond to same.
We did have a parent, and she's included in that package that Zola Shawana put together, who was talking about things that perhaps even go beyond this particular moment, about her description of this consistent targeting of children. And the hair issue, I mean, comes up again. And this is, what, almost 6 years after the last hair issue and racism-related issue that emerged at this same school. The critique is that the school itself hasn't evolved in terms of its diversity and inclusivity practices. There's some, criticisms being leveled against the principal as well for not acting quickly. Just talk to us about, incidents like this where there is a historical issue affecting a school, moves that are made to try and ensure that there's a healthier and more inclusive environment, to the point where, if, as you say, once everyone's been around the table, we'll understand the dimension a little bit better. But it leads to an incident where, again, an allegation of racism rears its head.
Definitely. I think what What we sometimes forget is that in a school like this 6 years ago, there was a different cohort of learners. There's now currently a different cohort of learners. And what we need to see is the policy that was put in place. Have they been maintaining the training or the making the new learners who come to a school aware of what the school's position is in terms of racism, in terms of discrimination, and when you look at these schools, even if you remember the other incidents at Crawford, the policies are very, very clear. But as we know, policy is one thing, implementation is another. And when we understand exactly how racism rears its head, we understand that racism is a social construct, and where we say what is also happening in terms of the parent group as well, to train them and make them aware to train them and also make them aware of what is going on and how they are supposed to be responding and educating and training teaching their children.
Maybe just a final word as we close. As you said right at the very beginning, you are doing your own independent investigation. You're bringing all of the stakeholders around the table to find out more from each of those perspectives. When are you likely to have an outcome, and what do you plan to do after that?
It depends. It's a very hard to say in the beginning because you can't predict what the outcome is. As you said, that it's a place where we've already been as a Human Rights Commission a few years ago. So the intervention won't necessarily be the same. But what we would be looking at now is post all the work that was done, post all the interventions that were done by GDE, the SAHRC, and other institutions, what has been happening in terms of implementation, but also what is going on every year when you are bringing in new learners to the school. So it becomes very important that we see that, we're not dealing with the school that is dealing with for the first time. Yeah. But we have to also say, what is it that is not going right, even in terms of the interventions that were proposed?